I got Neil. He checked in before the net started, KL7HQR, so thanks for that, Neil. I got James, KN6QNJ. Thank you for checking in. And AI6DG, that's Joel. Good evening, everybody. Any other check-ins?
November Romeo 6 Hotel, this is Anders.
All right, Anders, November Romeo 6 Hotel. Nice to hear that new call sign ring out. It's going to take me a while to get used to it, because the other day I was thinking about you, was wondering, what's his call sign again? But here I've got it written down. I'll probably need to write it down about 20 times, and then I'll get it right. Any other check-ins?
Yeah, this is Kilo Papa 4 Mike Delta Carol, and we have Frank Whiskey 6 November Yankee X-Ray on YouTube chat.
All right, Frank. Well, thanks for dropping in. I'll have to have you repeat the call sign and when you get a chance, Carol. I didn't catch it, but I did get Frank on YouTube. Whiskey 6 and something. Didn't catch the suffix.
Yeah, that's he's Whiskey 6 November Yankee X-Ray.
Yeah. Okay. Whiskey 6 November Yankee X-Ray. Thank you very much. Any other check-ins for this evening's Slow Scan TV Net? All right, I want to say thanks going out to James for covering the net control last week. I hope you had lots of fun, James, and it's good to see that you were able to jump right in there. I'm going to go back and watch the videos and see if I can catch up on some things that were happening last week. And Carol, well, congratulations to you and Charlie, your dad, for making it down the road, getting out of the hospital, and I hope he's on the mend. I heard an update from you, so nice work. Thank you. And yeah, let's see who do we have. If we don't have any other check-ins, what I can do is maybe check to the top of the list, see if Neil is ready to transmit.
Yeah, ready. We can do this. And by the way, James did a fantastic job. So we thank him for covering last week. This will be PD 120.
All right, thanks for the report there, Neil. We'll be listening for you, PD 120. MF Net Control, and Neil, KL7HQR, was able to successfully transmit a photo, very clean photograph, nice and crisp, very few pixel pops, quite sharp, very colorful. Seems like it's a fruit basket, or multiple fruit baskets rather. The items in the foreground, they look like a variant of apple, and if I had to stretch it, maybe some kind of bell pepper that I've never seen, a multicolored bell pepper. But at the top, an interesting sort of stem-looking thingy. Looks like a giant raw coffee bean affixed to the top of the thing, but I know that's not an accurate representation either. But strawberries off to the left, and some sort of, can't remember the names of those things to the right. I wanted to say kumquats, or maybe, geez, I can't think of the other name for those. Apricots, rather. Well, let's see. Let me turn it over to James. Were you able to copy the photo?
Affirmative, although it came through very scratchy, and I'm not sure if I just need to reboot the software, or it has something to do with trying to use WinLink earlier today. So I see it online on the YouTube feed, but I really can't make it out. I get a lot of color, like an impressionist's painting, but I'm not getting a clear picture. KN6QNJ.
All right. Sounds like you got some WinLink cross-pollination going on there. Hang in there, and hope you can move it, make some changes to correct that if you can. And let's see if we have anything from Joel, AI6DG. Were you able to copy?
Excellent copy. Very few pops. Very colorful. Lots of reds, oranges, blues, purples, browns. Quite a rainbow of colors. So I think I see cherries in the background on the right, strawberries on the left. Some of these look like apples in the foreground, but some of them are very strange shaped apples, so I'm not sure other than that. It almost looks like kidney beans on top of them, but I don't know what those are. Coffee beans sounds as good as anything else, but and on the right. Oh, wait a minute. Is that some oranges in the background, or is that more apples or whatever they are? Hard to tell. On the right, they could be kumquats, although I thought they were green or yellow. Wrong color. Yeah, I'd like to. I look forward to hearing what those are on the right. Back to net, AI6DG.
Well, kumquats, that would be fun. I sure would like to hear it as well. Thank you for that, Joel. Anders, November Romeo 6 Hotel. What do you say? Were you able to copy?
I have an excellent copy, beautiful colors, very few pixel pops, sharp picture, came through really, really well. And the mystery fruit on the right, in the pile, the yellow ones there, I would guess mangoes, maybe. And the thing in the front that looks like large green cashew things, I have no idea what that is. But there's a lot of gift wrap paper, looks like, around the whole thing. So somebody spent some time arranging this, definitely, to make all the fruit smile for the camera. So looking forward to learn more about what this is. This is NR6H, back to net.
Yes, I love it. Making the fruit smile. Oh my gosh, doesn't get much better than that. Thank you, Anders. Appreciate that. KP4MD, you're up.
Okay, yeah, this is KP4MD, and there's not too much else I can add. I see strawberries on the left. Something in the foreground looks like apples, perhaps, with cashews posed on top of them. I'm not sure what those yellow things on the right are. They could be possibly pears. And then behind the pears, I see what looks like cherries, like big cherries. One thing I could say, if we did this sort of thing when we were kids, we would be scolded for playing with our food. But apparently somebody was playing with their food as a kid, and they turned it into a career. It was a career for them. So back to net. This is KP for MD.
Yeah, I like that, Carol. That connection to playing with your food, and I'd rather see natural foods played with in wrapping paper than having to live with candy wrappers, or you know what I mean, healthy food as opposed to packaged unhealthy food, rather. So that was awkward. Thank you for that, Carol. Okay, that was KP4MD, and this is N6NA Net Control. We went through the list, and we'll turn it back up to Neil. Would you like to tell us all about your photo?
Actually, not. No. Yeah. By the way, I was talking to Bob at 6PGQ. He's not on tonight because he has been camping up in Half Moon Bay Beach Park. And I talked to him yesterday. He should be back in town tomorrow. Anyway, I thought Carol would get this. And because of her connection with Puerto Rico, which is a tropical country. On the left-hand side, the strawberries are very large strawberries, and they're shown here primarily to show the size. On the right-hand side, we call this is a picture taken at a fruit market in Brazil. That's the way they show it and present it. On the right-hand side, we call them yellow plums. I believe the name here is not really kumquats, but loquats, and I don't think I've seen it too much in Brazil. The main, pink cherries on the back. On the main fruit, on the dead center, they are actually cashews. We are used in the United States, you're used to see the cashew nut, which is inside those little containers up on top of the fruit. The cashew itself is a very, very juicy fruit. Which unfortunately doesn't live too long. That's why they don't export it. They make incredibly fantastic tasting juice, the cashew juice itself. The cashew nut is inside those containers, and those containers have to be treated very carefully because when you break them, there is a very strong acid inside that can be very corrosive, and the processing for extracting the nut is fairly complex. But anyway, I was just showing that that is what a cashew really is, and one of these days I hope you guys have a chance to taste the cashew juice, which is really light flavor, but very, very tasty. Back to that.
Very good, Neil. Thank you for sharing some Brazilian some information about Brazilian fruit, and I had no idea about cashews. It almost looks like the cashews on top of the whole cashew fruit, and probably explains why cashew nuts are so very expensive. I don't know. Some places they might be nearly $20 a pound. In fact, I'm going to look it up. Any other comments or questions?
7HQR, just to add, it's the only known fruit, to the best of my knowledge, that has a seed on the outside.
Yeah, that's pretty interesting. Thanks for sharing. Very, very beautiful photo. But yeah, the per pound cost for cashews is usually not less than $8 to $10 a pound, and if you get them organically, they can be way up there around $18, $19 a pound. But I've been into some pistachios lately. How's that? Any other comments on Neil?
Yeah, there's another fruit there that has the seeds on the outside, and that's a strawberry.
Okay.
Yeah, that's true. And we have strawberries right there on the upper left. And Carol, I missed the cherries in the background. I was just hoping no one else would notice them so I could grab them on the way out. How's that?
Craig caught them and identified them correctly. Craig, he's with us there from Louisiana now, WP2N.
All right, well, welcome aboard, Craig. Thanks for watching the show. That's WP2N, N6NA Net Control here. I'm Wilson. And let's see, I'm going to call on James, KN6QNJ. James, if you're ready, go ahead and transmit.
This will be PD120, PD120.
Net Control N6EMF here was able to copy a pretty good photograph from James KN6QNJ. Looks like a small high-wing aircraft, fixed-wing aircraft. Pretty good color spectrum, a blue aircraft with yellow stripes, and there's the name of this aircraft is at the tip of my tongue, but I don't want to be accused of guessing. And I'll also say there's quite a few pixel pops throughout the photograph, but overall it's very legible or very discernible what's going on here. The aircraft's indoors in a hangar, and looks like a lot of fun. Let me leave some fun on the table. And I know that Neil is an aviation guy, loves airplanes. How about it, Neil? Were you able to copy KL7HQR N6EMF?
Scale 7HQR, yeah, extremely good copy. It's amazing what we say, a lot of pops in the picture, and when you compare to the slow scan TV that you can get from HF on 4T230, these are incredibly perfect pictures. So beautiful copy of a very, very nice looking airplane in a hangar, and has the wheel covering, so very aerodynamically set up, and it looks very clean. Because there is a cutting on the cowling up front where you can see some of the cylinders, there is an airplane similar to this that is very, very, currently very unfortunately for a bad reason, very famous on YouTube for something that has happened in the last month or so. And that was a Taylorcraft, a 1940 Taylorcraft. So because of the opening on the cowling and it being a tail wheel, I would assume it may be a Taylorcraft, but I may be completely wrong. But beautiful copy, beautiful picture. Back to that.
Very good. Thanks for that, Neil. I hadn't heard anything about the incident with the aircraft, but I'm sure someone might know. How's that? AI6 DG, Joel, Were you able to copy?
Excellent reception, a fair amount of pops, probably the repeater IDing with noise bars across the center. I didn't hear it, so I'm not sure. I had the sound turned off. Metal shell building with girders, corrugated roof and sides, some clear panels to let in light, a small two-seater probably aircraft with upper wing, white struts. It looks like it's probably a four-cylinder pancake engine, maybe a Volkswagen. I know they were used in planes, but probably not in this case. Very streamlined, tail dragger, very clean looking. Someone's proud of this ship. I wonder how much they've got into it, and you know, I've heard that to put as much money into the avionics, the electronics, as it is the whole plane itself, and that's pretty easy to believe when you see some of the YouTube videos looking at the cockpit and what's in front of the pilot. I mean, it's all computer screens. Not to mention how expensive that stuff is to get certified. We grow up and get expensive hobbies, and avionics, planes definitely can get very expensive, I understand. Back to Net AI6DG.
That's an interesting point. Thanks for bringing those points, Joel. Okay, so November Romeo 6 Hotel Anders. How copy?
Good copy here. I got the picture. I see the, I guess the inside of James's garage with the vehicle in there. Very Swedish colors, actually. Swedish-looking airplane, I would say. And there's a guy standing there on the far left, looking away from the camera. Small plane. I'm guessing a one-seater, actually, but maybe a two-seater. It looks like a very small plane. I don't know if it's even experimental or something, but I'm not that well versed in all of the different models, but definitely interested to hearing more about what this is. This is NR6H. Back to you.
All right, thank you. That was Anders, N6RH, and Carol, KP4MD. Carol, were you? What would you say with the photo? You're up.
Okay, thank you. This is KP4MD. Well, you could see on YouTube what I received here. Good, nice, bright-colored airplane in a hangar there. Looks like there's a skylight over behind it there towards the corner. And I would say probably around 80 to 85% good picture. The rest of it, there are a lot of these pixel pops, and I have to say this is most probably due to PavePaw's radar up at Beale. I was hearing the tick, 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 tick on the audio of people who were giving their descriptions. So, look at this. Craig says Zara Rutherford was the first woman and youngest to solo around the world, and a microlight recently completed this task. So I don't know if this is a microlight, but I don't think so. It looks a little bigger than that. Anyway, back to Net. This is KP for MT.
All right, very good. Thanks for those comments from our YouTube audience. And that was Carol. And how about James, KN6QNJ? We're eagerly anticipating the narrative, the story. What's the story behind the photograph, the aircraft in the photo?
Well, I knew Neil had an aircraft background. He was right. It's a Taylor craft, but it's pre-war. It's at the Yolo County Airport where they have the Experimental Aircraft Association. They meet there regularly. And a friend of mine is very active in that association, and this is his plane. I got a chance to ride in it on the runway, but we never took off because the FAA inspector to certify it for its annual certification never showed up. So I was able to ride in it. It is a one-seater where two people can fit very tightly in there. There are really no electronics. It's just dials, and there was one control. I think it's the choke control. The knob had broken, and so we were using a pair of pliers to control the choke brake. But it's a pretty impressive plane. It's I don't know exactly how they're made. It's like a really strong canvas and paint or lacquer. Really light and easy to move around. We moved it around by hand. But just very cool, and I thought you all would be interested. KN6QNJ.
Yeah, that is very cool. I appreciate that. You know, James, I used to build and fly model aircraft in my early adulthood, or actually from a teenager on up into my early 20s, and I got away from it because it's really very time-consuming to deal with this kind of stuff. You have to go out somewhere, and it's far out, you know, and you have to have space to fly. But I could imagine same thing is true with a small aircraft. It's definitely a lot more time-intensive if you're working on them. But yeah, thanks for sharing that. It's pretty good stuff. Any follow-up comments or questions?
KL7HQ.
Neil?
Yeah, well, thank you. First of all, where do you say the airplane is anchored at?
It's in the Experimental Aircraft Association hangar in Yolo County, just west of Davis.
Okay, Roger. Yeah, the only thing I wanted to mention is that the only reason I knew that it could be a Taylorcraft is because if you guys want to take a look at YouTube, unfortunately there's not a happy thing to happen. There's if you look for I Crashed My Plane, and Trevor, Trevor, Jacob is the name of the gentleman. He pulled a stunt where he jumped off of a Taylorcraft and allowed it to crash in the mountains in California not too long ago. And there are all kinds of comments from CFI, Certified Flying Instructors, and everybody else saying that it was a very, very dangerous and a stupid stunt that he pulled. But anyway, you can see the aircraft, and you can definitely recognize because of the cutout and the cowling. But anyway, just so if anybody's interested, KL7HQ up back to that.
I've noted that. Thank you, Neil.
Comment.
Go ahead, James. Sorry.
One of the things they do in your comments about flying model airplanes when you were younger made me remember this, that I've been out there a couple times, and one of the things that the Experimental Aircraft Association is trying to promote is to get young flyers into the hobby. I was out there for a fundraising pancake breakfast one day, and they had at least one, maybe more than one, teenagers flying in on their own from McClellan, which was pretty impressive. KN6QNJ.
That sounds very exciting. I mean, and we all know that piloting aircraft is pretty exciting career. Every pilot I've ever known really enjoys their work, and the compensation is usually pretty good too. So that's great. It's a good career path, I think, for people, and I would encourage that. And the aerodynamics for model aircraft is pretty much the same as a real aircraft. And if you can fly a model, you could probably fly very quickly, adapt those skills to flying a real aircraft. And I think Neil has validated that for me. So thanks, Neil. Any other comments, questions?
KL7HQ1.
Go ahead.
I would be very interested in hearing about other activities and get together on that association. So if you can let me know, I'm okay with my email is okay on qrz.com, and I would appreciate. And one thing that to remember, if you ever see a movie called The Flight of the Phoenix, which I strongly recommend that you take a look at it. James Stewart is in it. They realize that it is a lot tougher to fly a model airplane than to fly a real airplane because you don't have the seat of the pants, you don't have the perspective, you have to fly with backwards control and everything. So I haven't flown for quite a while in the rear airplane, but I don't think I could do it on a model airplane. Excellent.
All right. Were you able to catch Neil's email address information?
I think I have it, yes.
All right, very good. No other comments. I'll go on down the list. Maybe Joel. Joel, AI6DG, you ready to transmit?
First, I'm on YouTube. I got a question about this I crashed my plane video. I haven't played it yet. I mean, I probably will in some of the associated responses to it after this net. But am I to take it that his plane engine stopped, so he was crashing, and rather than do that, he parachuted out of it and just let it crash on its own? What went wrong? Why did he do that? What's the backstory?
No, 7H.
Go ahead, Neil.
Yeah, that's his story. That's his angle, and that's what he says he happened. And if you're going to watch the video, you can watch and judge for yourself, and then listen to see some of the other comments. Apparently, a lot of people believe that that is not the case. It was just a stunt.
Go ahead, Carol.
Yeah, there's another comment on YouTube chat from Greg Popejoy is watching us. Says Neil nailed it. It's a 1940 Taylor craft, no radios, no electric system, hand prop, two plays side by side. Hadn't heard about an incident with one. The pre-war planes are more rare. So that's from one of our viewers. Back to Net.
Awesome comment. Thank you for the bit of history. Any other thoughts, comments on this? This one, James, is eliciting a lot of interest. Nice work.
Thanks, Wilson. Well, Greg, who just made the comment on the chat, is the owner of the plane, and I'll get the information from him about the Experimental Aircraft Association. In fact, Greg, if you're listening, if you want to add that to the chat, you could, KN6QNJ.
Thanks for making that connection there, James. And hello, Greg. Welcome to the show. This is our Slow Scan TV cast. Sit back and enjoy the show, and if you would make that information available to the group, sure would appreciate it, and thank you. All right, Joel, you're up.
Was there tone?
No tone.
Just a minute, let me reselect transmit device. Skip me and come back to me after next.
All right, I'm going to send a photograph. This is N6NA Net Control, Wilson here. Here it comes, PD 120. right. Well, that was a photograph from yours truly, Wilson, November 6 Echo Mike Foxtrot. This is a photograph gives the group some insight into what I worked on this weekend. So I'll turn it over to, I'll go in reverse order this time. I'll start with Carol, KP4MD. How copy?
Okay, thank you very much. This is KP4MD. Picture came through very well. Hardly any pixels popped there. I have 4 images, a mature Chinese pistache, and it's got a nice tree in the upper left-hand corner with red leaves. Then to the right of that, it says Chinese pistache. Don't see any leaves on that tree though. I think it's the one that's probably planted, freshly planted there. And then the lower left-hand corner says 15-gallon Chinese pistache. Okay, and I guess that's the seedling that's planted in that little round hole. And then in the lower right-hand corner, I can't really read the first. It said maple, something maple, silver maple, but burned maybe. I guess that's. I'm just guessing because it is rather fuzzy. The colors against the red lettering on the green background make it a little difficult to read. So otherwise, very good picture. So back to Net KP from D.
All right, well, thank you for that, Carol. And I'll go reverse order up the list. Anders and R6H. How copy?
Good copy here. Like Carol already said, 4 pictures. We got the Chinese pistache, and that is the tree that is outside my office window at work. There are plenty of those around the parking lot, and they have been mistreated to the point where things are starting to fall off them, so it's dangerous to park your car underneath some of them. The big branches are coming down randomly from those things, so been a little bit careful there. I think they cut most of them back now, so they should be okay, but last fall it was definitely not a good thing to park under those things. But anyway, I see the text. Actually, I can read the text down on the lower right image. It says silver maple sunburned. Yeah, this looks like backache to me. Yard work is not on the top of my favorite list, but I hope the results were good, and in a few years this will probably be a great thing. So NR6H, back to Net.
Well, all right. Thanks for that, Anders, and yeah, hopefully the trees in your business complex there will get treated better. If they don't, they probably won't live very long. And maybe there's an opportunity to recover the health of the tree. How about Joel, AI6DG?
It's a little messed up, but I can see the 4 pictures. How do you sunburn a silver maple? And obviously we're looking at two of those trees. The lower top right, lower right are in your backyard. The lower left in your backyard. I don't know about the top right. I don't see that in the other pictures. And hang on one moment. Let me see if I can do tone.
You got it this time. Your tone is working. Thank you, Joel. All right, well, thank you for your comments. Anything else? I'll go on up the list. James, in just a moment.
The picture came through much better than the first picture that I was receiving. I don't know what was causing that, the radar beal, as Carol mentioned, or something to do with my settings and the Yaesu 991. This came through really well with almost no pixel pops or interference of any kind. I can see the 4 pictures. The mature Chinese pistache looks beautiful. The weather is wintry weather, but came through great. KN6QNJ.
All right. Well, thanks, James. Neil, KL7HQR.
Yeah, very little KL7HQR, very little to add. Picture came in beautifully. Like it was mentioned, either very few pops or because of the background, they're not noticeable at all. And all four pictures in all four quadrants came in good color, and not much else to add. So good transmission. Back to them.
All right. Well, thank you for the comments, Neil. I'll explain this in just a moment, but I wanted to run back and check on Joel. I think he went after he gave his tone test. I didn't hear anything else from him. Did you make it back online, Joel?
Yeah, I'm here. I'm just trying to figure out what's going on. But at least I've figured out a workaround. Yep, finish this round and then come back to me and I'll got a picture.
All right, I'll try to run through this real quick. The situation is I have three trees on my property here at home. Two trees in the backyard, and all three trees needed to be trimmed, and they gotten too big for me to handle anymore. So I called the tree trimming service. Called out BP Tree Services LLC. They came out and gave me a quote to trim 3 trees. Well, they looked at this one tree in the lower right-hand corner here, and it's a silver maple that I planted myself about 12 years ago when the kids were small. And the tree started out pretty good, but the bark started splitting on the west side like you see here. Now, again, this is the front yard, and this is facing the south. But and then one of the things you're seeing in these 3 corner pictures is different perspectives of my front yard. So that hope I help clarify the confusion on that. But anyway, the tree here, the silver maple in the front yard, was sunburned, and the arborist told me this tree will live maybe another 3 years, 4 at most, and you're going to start having problems with it. So I recommend you enjoy it another 3 more years, or just have it removed now. So I decided to have it order a removal, and he recommended a Chinese pistache. So I went down to Green Acres. It was a really cool shopping experience at Green Acres, and picked up this 15-gallon Chinese pistache, and I dug the hole with my 13-year-old son, and we planted it ourselves this weekend. It took us 2 days to mix that in with other activities. But that's the story behind these lower 3 pictures. And the upper left picture is something I grabbed off the internet. Is a mature Chinese pistache tree, and just like Anders said, it has really a beautiful red color in the fall. That's just an update on what I've been up to this weekend. Okay, so everybody got the photo, and any questions or comments? All right. Let's see. Next up, AI6DG. If you're ready to transmit, go ahead.
What's the difference between pistache and pistachio, or are they different trees?
That's a good question, Joel. I don't think there's any difference. I think it's a marketing thing. In some instances they'll be called a pistache, and other times a pistachio. I hope I got that right. And I have I forgot the variant of this tree, but it's the male version of the tree, and it's called a Keith Davies. That's how it's branded. I'm not sure what that means, but I think it came from the Keith Davies nursery.
Interesting. Always something new to learn. Okay, here's a picture. PD120.
and thanks. That was Joel. I was able to pick up a photograph from Joel just fine. Very rich colors and lighting. Looks like possibly the deck of a ship in an outdoor kind of nighttime situation, but I can't discern much else so far. So I'm going to turn it over for some fun perspectives with Carol, KP4MD.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, that picture came through quite well, amazingly. Not too many pixel pops in the black. Well, yeah, a few in the bottom part more, but up in the top there's a dark sky with not too many pixel pops there. And I'm taking that this is a ship, a whole row of poolside lounge chairs along the left side there, and it looks like a lit swimming pool that's lit like aqua blue color up in the up in the center more towards the left. I'm not sure what's in the foreground on the right there, but maybe a bar, a lot of lights, and I don't know. I don't see people there. Anyhow. Very interesting, and yeah, there is a horizontal bar about 1/4 of the way down, which I think was probably the repeater ID. It's a typical view of the repeater ID. It causes a little horizontal bar there, the thin one. So back to net. This is KP4MD.
All right, well, thank you for identifying the repeater bar. I think you've said that before, but this time it's quite noticeable on the black background what that is. So like some perforated stripes across the screen on the top quarter. Thank you. How about Anders in N6H in 6 EMF?
Good reception. Very few pixel pops. They would be very obvious on this very dark background. So yeah, they can be counted on, well, maybe both fingers and toes, but not that many pixel pops. I got the horizontal ID bar also, and yeah, plenty of seating available this time of day at this boat for sure. No lack of empty chairs there. And then yeah, I'd assume that this has some kind of connection to the image that Joel sent, maybe not last week, but the week before. Maybe the camera is just pointing in a different direction this time. So yeah, back to net and R6H.
Right, very good, Anders. Thank you. James, K&6QNJ. How copy?
Came through really well. I don't have much to add with regard to the quality. There are a few pixel pops due to the darkness of the picture. I'm curious where it is. I don't know. Well, we can't tell where it is. My second reaction was that it kind of reminded me of the Battlestar Galactica ship. I don't know why, but maybe just the length and the girth. It just kind of just has a nice symmetry to it. It's a great shot. KN6QNJ back to net.
It is really a great shot, and I appreciate that, James. For me, I've been working so hard with everything that's been going on in my my domain that when I look at a picture that has anything to do with leisure, I kind of have sort of a brain quiver. I'm like, oh, maybe I can go enjoy a cruise or have a vacation or something, but it hasn't been happening lately. So I can't wait to dream about whatever it is Joel is going to have to share about this. So thanks for that, James. How about Neil, KL7HQR?
That's KL7HQR. Yeah, very, very good copy of the picture. And I was trying to see if I could identify the ship, but because of the blue and white sign on the funnel there in the back, it could be a princess. It's not a princess. It could be a Royal Caribbean. Apparently, the lights that they have on top, that string of lights, at least on Princess, which is the cruise line that I use, they are only when you're on port before the cruise or right after docking after the cruise. and the lights on the right-hand side could be something on land. So I would have guessed that because of nobody on board, no one here, it's either very late at night or it is just prior to cruising. Beautiful ship, beautiful copy. The swimming pool is very easily seen. The jacuzzi's on the right, and also it looks like there's some water fountains there. The stairs going up to the top deck. This deck's normally called many cruise lines as the little deck. So beautiful copy, and makes me think that on the 10th of February I'll be aboard one of those. Back to Nat.
All right. Well, it'll be interesting to hear about this lit in-fed radio that's going up into the sky. I hope it's not a radio. All right. I think we're ready to hear from Joel, AI6DG. Tell us all about the photo.
You know, I was trying to figure out where all the people were too, and then I finally realized, looking at the data on the photo, that it was about 3 a.m. at the time I took this. There actually are a couple of people in the shot. There's one in the that round thing on the right side. No, not the arch. Just to the left of the arch on the extreme right there's a lit kind of round thing. That's a jacuzzi, and there is someone at the base of the stairs to the left of that. And then there's the pool, obviously, kind of just left of center. But we're looking at 3 decks. You've got a pool level where there's a whole bunch of lawn chairs, and then one a deck above that on the extreme left, and on the extreme right behind a railing are another row of lounge chairs. And actually, the extreme lower right of the photo, you can see stairs going up, and that's going to the 3rd level that I'm at. And there's actually a little bar, just open air bar, just to the right off screen. On the left side, that arch thing with all the lit, this was Dawn Princess, so this was a Princess cruise line. And there's actually a half-court basketball court inside that structure, which was interesting. I wonder how often they lose, even with it being enclosed like that, I wonder how often they lose basketballs over the side. The ship was under sail, so it was not before or after. It was late at night. We had just left port that evening. I think this was probably leaving Jamaica, but I'm not sure. It was obviously very quiet, and I'm not a pool person, but it was absolutely amazing. When the cruise started, before we were even out of port, there were already people lined up alongside the pool, and I think some of them didn't leave until we got back to dock after 10 days. Obviously, different people go on cruises for different reasons. Back to Net, AI6DG.
That's interesting. Yeah, thanks for that, Joel. Fun stuff. Any roundup comments on Joel's photo?
Until 7HQR. When was this taken, Joel? Because I've been in a Dawn a couple of times, but they've been Princess sold it a few years ago because they had the Sea Princess, the Dawn Princess, and the Sun Princess. There are the 3 sister ships, and all 3 are gone. So when was this taken?
I don't know, 15 years ago or something like that. It was 2005, maybe. It was a long time ago.
Okay, good. It's a good ship, though. Thanks. Appreciate it, KL7HQ.
All right, thanks for that. Well, Anders, November Romeo 6 Hotel, if you're ready, you can transmit a photo.
This will challenge the contrasts a little bit, but this is a PD-120.
nice work, Anders. That's NR6H has successfully transmitted a photograph. Looks like right there at dusk, he's got possibly Anders there in the photograph with a canopy and maybe a homebrew antenna tripod, or not tripod, but quad pod or whatever. And he's doing something. He's having a field day, it looks like. And so let me kind of mix things up a little bit. I will go right up the list to AI6DG to Joel for how did you copy, Joel?
Excellent reception, especially considering the contrasting issues as described. And I'm only going to say one thing. That's me in the photo, and because I know what this is, I'll let others guess.
All right, so Joel doesn't want to take all the fun off the table. That's fair. I'll come back. If you have any other comments, I'll jump to James, KN6QNJ.
Well, I'm guessing this is Jan Park and Carmichael. In the evening of the first, within the 24-hour period of field day, looks like, I can't quite tell how many cables are there. I see one thick cable. Maybe that's just one wire for an end-fed antenna. It looks like maybe there's some guy wires there. And the awning is tilted to keep the sun out as the sun goes down, it looks like. KN6QNJ.
Very good. Okay. So yeah, I think Anders was right though with the contrast. It was put quite a bit of pressure on the transfer, but I think I get the essence of it, but I can't identify the person. Carol, KP4MD, how'd you do?
Okay, yeah, this is KP4MD. You can see the picture that I copied over there on YouTube. And I couldn't tell if it was dusk or dawn, but I guess you know it's dusk. And yes, there's somebody operating underneath that canopy, and it looks like there's a light, like a lamp, a little table lamp on there as well, to be able to see what they're doing in the kind of the dark. That mast, I don't know. It kind of looks like it's maybe something made of PVC, because I see a typical type of joint there where you could put these PVC pipes together. And on the one in the upper right, the base there on the upper right hand corner of that mast, looks like there's something heavy holding it down, maybe a beanbag or something heavy. And it looks like there's some feed line coming up from the canopy, maybe towards the top of that mast, and the ribbony look of it makes it kind of look like maybe it's what they call ladder line. It's really hard to tell about the if there are any wires that you can see. They're very faint and very thin, but they look like they're all kind of like draping down on either side of that mast. I really can't tell anything else. So back to Nets, KP for Mike Delta.
Right, thank you, Carol. I had the impression that those things that look like wires that are coming down very close to the mast were more like some sort of noise in the picture or a wave in the picture, an artifact of the compression or whatever. So I could see sort of the silhouette of the ground wires, or not ground wires, but guy wires. And yep, good stuff. And I thought it might be dusk because light clothing. It appears to be light clothing, and I can't imagine someone would be out there that early in the morning, as cold as it's been in the morning. But that's just my perspective. And let's see, where am I? With Neil, KL7HQR, how copy?
KL7HQR, well, I'm a little confused because I got a picture of what I thought was a very good copy. But with my old eyes, I cannot discern anybody. I could not identify silhouette of a person. I see primarily the dawn or dusk sky with silhouette in about everything. I do have the bright white light in the middle, and looks like there is some indications of an operating station there, but I could not see a silhouette of a person. So you guys can see a lot more than I can. I can see the mast. I can see what appears to be a PVC cross on the ground. As Carol mentioned, I can see something in there that could be something holding the thing in place. The cable coming down, which could be a letter line for the feed line. But that's basically it. The rest, I'm straining here to try to see where a person could be there, and haven't seen it. So back to that.
Yeah, I could see where you're coming from. I might not be able to discern a silhouette of a person either unless I hit the magnifying glass and bring it up full screen on my laptop. But the person is just to the right of the bright spot in the middle of the picture, and so maybe take a closer look and see if that rings a bell. All right, Anders, you're up. NR6H.
Picture back. Thank you.
Yeah, you got it. James nailed it exactly, almost by the minute, I think. This picture was taken as I had just ripped my station down. I was set up on the far side of this pop-up in the park, and I had just taken everything down and carried it down to the car. And I came back and I saw Joel sitting there eagerly working 15 meters, I think, at this time of day, and under the light. And I just thought the light was pretty neat with the sun setting in the far there behind the trees. The mast is PVC, and the wires you see are mostly guy wires, and there's a coax going up. I agree, it kind of looks like ladder line based on how it's jagging back and forth, but I'm pretty sure that's a coax there. And yeah, we had a fantastic day in the park. It was awesome. I got to work 20 meters all day. I didn't make a ton of contacts, but I did talk to New Hampshire, and I think that was pretty neat from a park in Carmichael. So I had fun, and it was a beautiful day. This is NR6H, back to net.
All right, well, congratulations to you, Anders, for getting out there and making it happen on field day, and to both you and Joel together. So that's awesome. I'm looking forward to doing more of that. So keep me posted on your developments. I might tag along or get out there sometime. Do we have any other comments or questions?
AI6DG.
Go ahead, Joel.
So this is probably me frantically trying to find one more contact, just one more contact, and then I'll pack up because it was already getting very dark and very cold. The mast tower thing on the right is two 10-foot sections of PVC pipe going up. The lower one is 2-inch. The upper one I think is 1.5 inches with a coupler in the center, and you can barely see that there's guy lines. Each level, so 10 feet up and then 20 feet up, has 4 guys going down on the 4 compass directions to the X base, and the base is 2 10-foot, 2-inch PVC pipes cut in half with a 4-way, so it's fitting in the center, and they don't make pipe fittings like that, so I had to go to a furniture fitting, PVC furniture place to get that fitting. And it works out pretty well. It's a little consuming to set up and tear down, but it definitely is enough to get a wire antenna 20 feet up in the air. There was another one identical to this, about 60 feet behind me and to my left, where the other end, Anders, actually, because I wasn't taking this photo, Anders was taking the photo. That was the other end of a 10 to 40 end fed antenna. That worked out really well. Back to net, AI6DG.
All right, very good. Thanks for a little bit of narrative on the construction of the PVC mast. I went to the hardware store one day. I had a really good idea about what I wanted to do, and when I got in the store, I couldn't make up my mind, and I just left. Ended up using a bicycle maintenance tripod to do this kind of thing, and I can talk about that another time. But nice work putting together a PVC mast. I like it.
Well, it just happened the first time. I've tried a few things, and some did work and some didn't. In fact, this is like the second generation of this. I mean, the first time the guy lines were permanently tied at both ends. With the way they are now is I have little clips where I can unclip them.
I could imagine. Well, nice work. Any other comments or questions? All right. Thank you, Joel. Wonderful. Thank you, Anders. Let me see. Thank you, Anders, for a good photo of things that are going on out there with Field Day. We have one more transmission to get out. KP4MD. Carol, if you're ready, go right ahead.
This will be PD 120.
Well, very good, Carol. This N6 EMF, that was KP4MD, has successfully transmitted a really good photo. It looks like a section of her ham shack with a good luck cat in the upper right-hand corner, possibly, and a KP4 ham radio license plate with a huge gap between the suffix and the number in her call sign, which I don't think that's what she has on her car today, and then maybe some other knickknacks, ham radio, all things ham radio there. So let's see if I could turn this over to Anders in R6H.
The picture came through very well. Little more pixel pops than we've seen previously tonight, I think. But overall, good colors, sharp picture. Car is backed up against a wire shelf here. Not sure why you would park the car that close to that shelf, or maybe that sign is not on the car. some kind of radio gear in the front, big heat sink on the bottom left with a 2 black and a red button. Says Rage or Sage or something on it. Not sure what that is. Probably an app. Big fan on top to keep the heat sink cooler. And then the cat is sitting on some piece of electronics also with an LED bar, green and red there, VU type meter. Maybe that's a tuner, maybe, or maybe it's a power meter or something like that. But at least it's keeping the cat warm, I think. So that's good. Yeah, that's what I see. Everything is on a wire shelf, so probably part of a shack somewhere, maybe, or in the garage. I don't know. NR6H, back to net.
Very good. I think I saw this photograph posted on Discord earlier this week, so I have some clues, but I'm not going to let the cat out of the bag. How's that? Well, thank you for that, Anders, and I'm going to go on up the list to AI6DG. How copy?
Excellent reception, yeah, for a number of pops. So we're looking down at the contents of a chrome bread rack type of shelf. We're looking at one shelf. On the left, there's a Mirage Amplifier. I'm going to guess it's a 2-meter amplifier. And a bit behind that, there's a license plate, KP4MD, but yeah, it's not current. So I guess, Carol, you're not using your ham license plate anymore, or maybe you got rid of a car and didn't transfer it to the new car. Anyway, a story there, I'm sure. On the right, we have one of those good luck cats with the waving arm sitting on top of a piece of aircraft gear. Could be an amplifier, it could be a power watt meter, but I'm going to guess, what with the Mirage sitting next to it, that it's a transverter. And that she talks on some of these nets on that setup. Back to net, AI6DG.
All right, thank you for that, Joel. James, KN6QNJ. How copy?
It came through beautifully with some pixel pops. It's a really great photo. I saw it earlier on Discord too. I knew what the cat represents, and I think that's the most interesting part of the picture. But I'll let Carol comment on that. KN6QNJ, back to net.
Well, all right. Fun stuff, James. Thank you. Neil, if you're there, KL7HQR, how copy?
KL7HQR, yeah, good copy. Not much to add to everybody, what everybody else indicated. Very few pops in here and good quality. The cat seems similar to something that I've seen in Asia, where the arm moves back and forth, and it was supposed to be a good luck charm, but I have not seen this particular cat, so I'm interested in hearing what this particular one is about. So back to that.
Okay, thank you for that, Neil. Carol, KP4MD, you're up. Tell us about your photo.
Okay, very good. This is KP4MD. This is a photo I like to share on my social media feed sometimes. It's in celebration of the Chinese New Year, which is today. I guess it's the year of the tiger. And some people think that cat is a Chinese cat. Actually, it's a Japanese cat, although you'll see a lot of Chinese restaurants have appropriated the symbol, and I think you see it around China too. In Japanese, it's called a maneki neko, which means beckoning cat, not lucky cat. And that waving arm, you think it's waving at you. Actually, that symbolizes come towards me. You know, it's beckoning. That's in that culture. That's what that means. And the white color of the cat, they have cats of different colors. White color cat stands for good luck, and it's holding a coin, a gold coin in front of it, which has kanji characters that read 10 million gold coins. And that form of a oval gold coin was typical of the Edo period in Japan. So that's a little bit of history about the cat. But yep, see, Joel got it right. That's a Mirage amplifier. It's a 160 watt amplifier for 2 meters. And what's right next to it there is the Elecraft XV144, which is a transverter that I use to feed that amplifier. This was a setup that I used to use when we were doing the slow scan TV net on 2 meter simplex. I used to run a lot of power because it was sometimes hard to get out in the distance without having a repeater. And I'm so thankful that we were able to finally switch this over to a repeater because the copy of the pictures is much better. We have much better range with this. That license plate that you see in the background was a call letter plate. I think I got that. I'm not sure how long ago was it. It was I think it's over 10 years ago. But I applied for the call plates, and they were issuing all of the license plates with the gap between the prefix and the suffix. And they did that 1 year. We don't know exactly why. Some people think it was because they were trying to get you to pay for a vanity plate in order to get the correct looking call sign. But in any case, there was a lawsuit against the DMV that the law said that a ham radio plate had to be the actual call letters. You couldn't insert that space in there. So what they did was if you complained about it, they would issue you another pair of plates correct without the space, and you would just keep the ones that they sent you with the space. That was a big mistake they made back then. I don't know if some of you who have been around longer might remember that time. So that's the story, and so happy Chinese New Year to everyone also. Back to Net. This is KP4MD.
All right, well, very good, and thank you very much. Happy Chinese New Year to you and everyone here on the cast and everyone viewing on YouTube as well. And yeah, that was one of the things I noticed in your photo was the issue with the license plate. And I'll tell you what, folks, I'll have one more photograph to send, and it should come across very, very quickly. And so no need to discuss at all. It'll just be a fun one. But also wanted to follow up and say, kind of reinforce that the slow scan TV cadre here has been going for 10 years, and I've been part of it for about a year and a quarter, maybe. I've been at this consistently for a little over a year, and I've been having a lot of fun with it. So thanks, Carol, for being such a strong force keeping this going. And I don't want to detract too much away from your photo, so we'll get back to that and ask the group if they had any follow-up questions or comments. Well, all right. Thanks for sharing a little bit of history on the cats and the cultural stuff. And here comes one last transmission. Should only be a few seconds. No need for discussion. Hopefully this commemorates our work for the night, kind of puts a cap on it, maybe credits like they do in the real TV shows. So what do you think?
Good job.
Right, very good. Any last comments, Carol? Did you have anything on the 10th anniversary of Slow Scan TV Net?
Yes, I want to thank everyone who's participating, especially Joel. There was a time that we had a little lapse, that there was a loss of interest in this, and then Joel was insistent on firing it up again, and it's going strong. Thank you very much for that, Joel. And I want to give also a honorable mention to Alf KN6 PRD, who is on our live stream chat from Jalisco in Mexico. and he's watching along. So I thought that was very nice for him to jump in there, and hoping he's having a fun time there. It's the town festival down there in Jalisco in Mexico. So back to net, KP4MD.
Thanks for that, Carol, and just sorry I missed Alf, the KN6PRD, but appreciate you looking out for us, Alf, and enjoy your time. Be safe down there. We'll be looking forward to hearing an update from you next time. So with that, I would like to go ahead and give thanks to everybody who has participated in the net tonight, and we hope to see you again next Wednesday at 9 o'clock p.m. Going to seek to officially close out the net. It is, let's see, 10:27 p.m. Pacific time. This is Wilson, November 6th, Echo Mike Foxtrot, wishing all of you a good evening, and thanks everybody for all of your work. 7-3, Wilson, N6 EMF, I'll be clear.
Thanks, Wilson. KL7HQR, are you there still?